Hi everyone. For those that don't know me, I'm Paddy Gamble, and I lead the insights capabilities here at New West End Company. And I'm here to talk to you about how the insights program is evolving. So firstly, when I talk about the insights program, that's our regular insights deliverable to members, whether that be weekly, monthly, or ad hoc reports throughout the year. These are underpinned by a whole host of data. The biggest improvement that is coming is our monthly reporting for the West End, where our members will get a granular view of performance across the district, and we're making some big changes on the inputs into that data, into that report, and also the way in which you, the members, can consume that data. So firstly, why are we doing this? So we understand the real importance of insights to our members. We know when we speak to our members and we do our annual surveys that insights is one of the most engaged pillars within New West End Company. And we also know that the feedback that we get from you highlights the impact that insights can have. So we're starting from a very strong position, but that doesn't mean that we can improve, and we're always looking to understand how we can improve the insights that we deliver and how we can deliver more insights to more members. So our challenge was to review our data sets and to look at how these could be improved. So we really distill the inputs into the four buckets that you can see on screen. So whether that be footfall and visitation, whether that be visitor behaviours and opinions, travel data and hotel occupancy data. And then the biggest, and arguably the most important, is the card transaction and spending trends. So that really is the biggest change for us as part of the programme, and I'll go through that as part of this webinar. So where are we starting from? So previously, spending insights were derived from a participating sample of about 80 plus retailers and brands across the district. It was a really rich data set, really granular, but it was reliant on members signing up and sharing transaction data monthly. And to incentivise members to sign up, the most detailed insights were limited to only those that share data. So, there were some restrictions on the way in which we could use and share that data. So now we're going to switch to MasterCard as our spending input. So MasterCard will be providing us with aggregated spending data across all trading stores by merchant category in the West End. You can see on screen sort of two maps to show that the real significant difference in data coverage. All data will continue to be anonymised, and there will be no requirement for members to sign up or share data on a monthly basis. Significant improvements there, both in coverage and ease of access. And now all members will have access to the insights derived from MasterCard data. This is obviously the most significant improvement because we can do a lot with this data and really look into the performance trends on a monthly basis and explain what has driven West End performance in a given month. For example, MasterCard will help us understand differences by street, category, international versus domestic spend. Within international, how does this differ by country? Are transaction values or volumes up or down? So some members got this level of detail previously, but now all members will be getting this level of detail. Some really big enhancements, but actually, can we take those enhancements any further? For example, if we reported that West End sales were up 10% in a given month, we'd probably think that's great, we're performing really well. But actually, we have no reference points from which we can actually make that judgment as to whether this is an expected level of performance, if we've outperformed other competing London venues, or how our KPIs perform against other competing London venues. Now we can do that. So now we also can look at performance data beyond our district, and we have spending insights across Greater London, allowing us to benchmark monthly performance against a peer group of competing London venues. We can tell you if that 10% uplift in sales is an under or over performance versus what is observed elsewhere. We can also provide insights to say how average transaction values or volumes compare to other locations. Does Bond Street outperform Knightsbridge? How does Oxford Street compare to other comparable locations? We recently used some of this data benchmarking with West End retail agents who absolutely loved it. Imagine how much easier it is having a conversation with a brand that is considering a West End store or a store somewhere else in London, and be able to show them data that shows how we have the greatest volume of spend and transactions. Our average transaction values are higher than the other location that they might be considering. Benchmarking provides a great context to the data that we will be getting from MasterCard, and really provides an enhanced understanding when trying to pick apart venue performance, and this will be another really great addition to our monthly reporting. So that was spending inputs. What about outputs? So we will be delivering these outputs monthly via an emailed report detailing district performance and providing you with key observations and reasons behind the performance. This is what we've always done, but everyone will now be getting the same level of detail and content. This email historically was accompanied by a static PDF that detailed the key metrics that we, interpreting the data, thought was best for you to see. It was a very static report. That will continue, that sort of reporting will continue, but again, we'll be stepping that on to provide you with access to interactive dashboards to be able to really drill into that data in more detail, perhaps look at cuts of data that are more bespoke to you or that we haven't called out in the reporting. So again, real enhancement in sort of the value proposition from Insights to our members. And I'm going to hand over to my MWIC colleague, Archam, to talk you through this, alongside my Colliers colleague, for those of you that know me from Colliers, to talk through the design, development and delivery of those dashboards.
Thank you, Paddy. So yes, my name is Archam Khachaturian. I'm head of business intelligence at New West End Company, and I am joined today by Tom Rollinson from Colliers Retail Strategy and Analytics team, who has done a lot of work helping us put together this report. Now, Paddy has told you quite a bit about the data inputs and the changes behind the scenes in the report, but there's also significant difference in how we deliver and what you will get each month. As Paddy mentioned, instead of a static report that you saw previously, we will now have a more interactive report and an interactive dashboard that you can interact with for all of your needs. So Tom will help me take you through some of the new capabilities and features of this report, how you can navigate, how you can get to the data that's most relevant to your business. So hello, Tom, and good to meet you.
Hi.
So obviously people are quite used to static PDF reports. It's quite normal. It's something that everyone is familiar with. What is the benefit of this interactive dashboard? What can you get from it that you can't get from a static report?
Yeah, so I think you covered it and Paddy covered it at the start. The key benefit is the interactivity of the dashboard, allowing users to tailor their insights to suit their business needs rather than being confined to a predefined static report. So we'll run through various pages and insights we can get from this dashboard over the course of this webinar. But just to kind of highlight some of the key benefits of the dashboard, blending that data, as Paddy mentioned, so being able to see a holistic picture of the West End performance, so looking at merchant category spend, international performance, and also insights into the component parts of the West End.
Okay, thank you, Tom. If you were completely new to this sort of dashboards, where would you start? Let's say you are a decision maker within a retail business and you want to just see, okay, what is the overall performance in the West End in a given month? How would you go about that?
Yeah, so this is something we kept at the forefront of the mind when designing, of understanding how people interact and read data in vastly different ways. So when users first interact or navigate to the dashboard, the page on screen now will be their first landing page, so to speak. So this is a view of somebody logging on and wanting a quick snapshot of how the performance within the West End has performed within a given month. So we can see the 4 key metrics on screen of sales, footfall, transactions and ATV. And at a one-stop glance, being able to see how this year-on-year performance has changed, seeing how the international v domestic split has changed, and also being able to gauge how that trend's happened over the last 12 months by the time series along the bottom. So this will be a great starting point to get those key insights, and then we'll run through the various pages that you can drill down to and filter later on.
Okay, so that's a great overview of the overall performance. But what if, let's say, my business occupies a very specific niche? Let's say I am a health and beauty retailer on Regent Street, and I know lots of my customers come from overseas. Is there anything that would be tailored just to, my area that I can get from this report?
Yeah, and I think this is where users will really see the flexibility that this dashboard offers. So taking that example as you described, so moving on from this executive summary page, and we can navigate to the spend overview page, which similar to the exec summary provides an overview of how the spending performance has performed within the West End in April, with a bit more detail into month on month, year on year, in that international v domestic split. And as Paddy referred to at the start, being able to compare that performance against benchmark competitors to be able to see how the West End relates to similar locations within London. So further on from this, we can navigate to a subpage looking at Regent Street performance, or more specifically spend by street across the West End. So we can see how performance in Regent Street compares to Oxford Street and Bond Street, and also see how this proportion of spend differs domestic and international wise across the 3 different streets. And then if we return to the spend overview page, there's also the ability to drill down into category performance. So taking your example of the health and beauty operator, at a one-stop glance, we can see how health and beauty spend within the West End is performing, and being able to see how this compares to other merchant categories across the West End. And just to kind of highlight some of the flexibility that the report offers, throughout the report, there are the options to filter certain visuals. So being able to navigate the spend year on year time series to health and beauty will give the operator the insights of how spend within the area has changed or trended over the last 12 months, and being able to further split that down into international v domestic to see how businesses are contributing to that spend over the last 12 months.
That's great. We know that's a lot of the spend in the West End comes from overseas customers. So what else can we learn about their performance?
Yeah, so away from spend, the dashboard contains a lot of other data. So if we navigate to this international travel page, we can get a view of how international passenger volumes have changed month on month and year on year, and how within specific countries, how that proportion has changed. I think something which users will find very useful and quite a big difference is, as we keep saying, the interactivity of the dashboard, and particularly along the map visuals. So on the right hand side, we can see how the proportion of visitors are on a world map and highlighting key countries such as the US, for example. But taking this one step further and moving away from this predefined static report, if a operator or retailer, for instance, wanted to see a specific country and how that country performed, but isn't included in our predefined top 10 list, you have the option to click on the map, and it will filter the relevant views to a specific country. So for example, I've selected China here, and we can see how the KPIs along the top, so the 4 cards, are filtered specifically to China. So within a one click, we can see the overview of Chinese international travel, and along the bottom right hand chart, we can see how the future booking growth has changed, or is expected to change over the next 3 months. And just to kind of highlight the faint bar behind, this benchmarks or positions this performance against the average performance as well. So it allows the retailer to really delve into specific use cases, which a static PDF report wouldn't allow them to do.
Excellent. This seems like there's a lot of data sitting behind this dashboard. Is there anything in particular that you'd like to highlight besides what we've already discussed that you think our members would find useful?
Yeah, so a couple of final points to cover. So if we navigate to the travel and hotel occupancy, for those members who are familiar with the catchment report and catchment analytics that's been conducted, they may be more familiar with the visual on the right-hand side. But what the dashboard and the map visual has allowed us to do is to display the West End draw of trade, so retailers can understand how the West End draws the trade, and also be able to split this by component trade areas. And something that the dashboard allows as well is to toggle between looking at the predefined catchment zones, so the primary, secondary and tertiary zones, to be able to see how performance within the specific catchment differs month on month or year on year. So this really delves into the insights of where is the West End pulling visitors from compared to previous months and areas of over and under performance. And we can also see on the page how we still visualize the hotel occupancy and also the TfL data, which I'm sure many retailers will be interested to see how volumes are changing over a monthly level over the last 12 months, also seeing how the proportion of visitors using TfL's stations have changed throughout the week. And whilst we touched on catchments at a kind of a West End level, just want to navigate to this page, which I think will be a real benefit to many retailers, which brings together a lot of the data that we've already discussed and more into a single street overview page. So rather than needing to toggle various visuals to get insights into Oxford Street or Regent Street, going back to the example we talked about this earlier, we can use the filter on the top right hand side, select one of the component trade areas, and the key metrics are all shown on a single page. And the final thing just to cover is the share of visits on the bottom right hand side, which allows retailers to be able to really break down and see where a specific street, so take Oxford Street, where they're overperforming in terms of pulling in visitors to the area and where they have a lower share of visits relative to the other component trade areas. So what this page allows us to do is, like I said, bring all of that together. And something more from a functionality point of view, which users may find very interesting, is the ability to toggle visuals into focus mode. So this bottom right hand map, whilst you can see that the key zones, if we toggle it, we can make this full screen. So what this allows users to do is then interact. We can hover over to see the tooltip, so to see which parts of the zones that overperforms in, and then we can just return back to the main reports. And this works on all visuals as well. So a time series, for example, and we can really see it full screen. We can hover to see the raw values and also the percentage change.
Yes, this is a great way also to see the historical data, not just for the given month, but also for the past 12 months as well. Thank you very much, Tom, for this useful overview. And now we're going back to Paddy.
Thanks, Archam and Tom. So I think probably to summarise, it's a real step up in terms of our inputs. So we're able to provide a lot more granular insights to more members. So hopefully those that only digest the email report, they're getting more value, they're getting more insights because of the evolution of our inputs, and then a big step change in our outputs. So for those that want to play with the data, want to drill into the data, those that want to question the data. So I think the beauty of self-serve analytics is actually we don't need to wait for a response from Archam, maybe, that actually we can jump on the Insights portal and actually I can understand, has dwell time gone up or down this month? I can understand how sales in a certain category at a certain street have gone up or down in a given month. So it's hopefully driving efficiencies and sort of interactions with the data that hopefully you will all benefit from. Our May data is just in, so we're busy crunching the numbers to understand May performance, and you will be hearing from myself and Archam imminently with the latest report, the latest links to access the dashboards, and yeah, hopefully everyone is feeling more informed and more insightful in what they receive. please do contact either myself or Archum if you have any questions around the data, around the dashboard. We're happy to jump onto calls with people and almost talk you through the data, talk you through the dashboard, because it's our hope is that you will all adopt the dashboards and really get into querying the data and playing with the data and using the visuals in your own reports.